offer in all that we do.
Great, thank you so much. Kathy, can you share with us a little bit more about your office and its initiatives? Like what exactly the mayor does? I know you told us a little bit about that earlier, but feel free to expand if you would.
Okay, well, the mayor does different things every day. There is no set schedule. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's a sometimes 7:30 in the morning till 10:30 at night day, and other days it's nothing at all. It is truly a part-time job. It's not one of those that you can count on me being in a certain place at a certain time, but the mayor's office is responsible for connecting with the public. So it's kind of like spreading the message of the city of Westerville to people outside of the normal things like our normal City of Westerville government releases and stuff. So I'm always attending meetings. I represent the city on the Ohio Municipal Electric Association board because we have an electric division. I attend a lot of things that happen in the city. So be asked like from the school district to do something, or the chamber may have a forum that I need to attend and be a participant of, excuse me. I like attending things like when Matt was talking about chamber events, they have something called Women in Business Luncheons, and they're quarterly. And I love to attend those because I like to see women in leadership roles, business owners, you know, women in good business positions. And I would recommend for any student that's thinking of being in a business atmosphere to sign up for one of those. Sometimes, as Matt will tell you, they're open to anybody who wants to come. It's a great start for networking, to get to know people. And I think the mayor's job is all about networking, because people always say, who can I go to for this, or what's going on, and how can I talk to someone about it. So kind of my job is to get to know people, to say, okay, you need to talk to this person or that person, or I don't know the answer because I'm not involved in it, but this person does. So when I said ambassador, I meant it. It's really what I do a lot of. Like I said, every day is different. So I don't know what else you would like to know about it. If you have any questions, just wing that at me. So I could go on for a long time about different things I've done, but I don't want to bore you to death.
That's great. Does anyone have any questions at the moment for Matt or for Kathy? Feel free to send them in the chat if you think of any. So a main question that we had for you guys today is how do you on a daily basis, and how do your organizations interact with the Otterbein community? Or could they interact if they don't?
Oh, well, I will tell you, the city interacts frequently with Otterbein on many different levels. Obviously, the first one would be in the partnership. The city, the chamber, Otterbein, the school district, and the library have a partnership, which is unique in our community, where we all get together on a regular basis and talk about projects, things that are going on, what to look for, how we can help each other to make the community better. So we all work together. To me, that's the most important one, because you have people constantly trying to get information out there in the public. Obviously, we have been investing in the Point. We financially, as a city, invested in the Point, and taking ownership in that great collaboration when the idea first came up, and still are involved in that today. I personally was involved in a committee with Julie Saker and others to talk about safety on the campus. We had a great year-long committee there where we combined people like the fire chief, the police chief of Otterbein, and some other people involved to try and help to make sure that Otterbein students are safe on campus. And because the campus is a part of our community, it is part of Westerville, and we need to think of it as just another segment of our population. So to me, that was important. We collaborate on other projects. We do, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Well, one of the things we do, and this is more of my personal initiative of being involved with Otterbein, is a few years ago created a neighbor to neighbor initiative, which is something that is to spread kindness. I have felt over the last number of years that people were becoming, if I say less kind, was that a nice way to put it? Actually more hateful and vitriolic. And I noticed this even years ago. People felt they could say what they want to say because no one's going to tell them they can't say it. And so my initiative is to spread kindness. And we have a whole lot of people involved in this. And Otterbein has been part of it from the beginning, from Dr. Comerford on to Misha and oh God, man, I'm going blank, but
Melissa.
help me there. Melissa, thank you. I just talked to her a minute ago and I forgot Melissa's name. I'm sorry. It's that old age thing. And we have some Van Sant scholars who are involved with Neighbor to Neighbor. So it's truly a grassroots initiative that we have, and the chamber's involved in the schools and just individual businesses and things trying to promote. You might see, if you're around, we have some signs out that say vote yes for kindness. That's been our initiative this year because we knew this was going to be a volatile year around election time. So we wanted to get people into the kindness mode. So there are constantly things going on between the city itself, the city government itself, and Otterbein, and then through social interaction as well.
Great.
One of the cool things about my role here is that community outreach is kind of a catch-all term in my title, because with Leadership Westerville, we put on activities that do community conversations, to our service day where we have volunteer opportunities to go and help seniors within our community, to serving with Kathy for Neighbor to Neighbor, and then sitting on some other committees and commissions. And so the reason why I share that is I get to really do a lot of connecting between businesses and needs in the community. Personally, I love Otterbein because I graduated there in 2008. My wife is a graduate a couple years after me. All of my friends are from Otterbein. I did everything possible on Otterbein's campus when I was there. And the one way I really want to give back is to stay connected. And so almost every semester, our chamber office has an intern. I was one of the founding members of the Cardinal Corps team for the CCE. So my buddy Joe and I were the ones that wrote the Constitution and some of the things you might still be utilizing today. I don't know. And so with that, when I first stepped into the role with Leadership Westerville, I'd reached out to Misha and Melissa and connected with the Van Sant program and had the Van Sants help. I didn't empower them that well. It was a flaw on my part in my leadership. But we tried to grow it so much that last year we tried to connect students with other nonprofits, and that had some tweaking in some growing areas. And to the point where now we have a Van Sant scholar, Ryan, and I forget his last name, who's going to be helping us with Neighbor to Neighbor. I have two great Van Sant scholars, two strong women, Erin and Kendall, part of CCE, who are helping with leadership today. And so that's just one way with internships in the Van Sant program. I'm also an alumni of Sigma, I almost said Sigma Alpha Tau. That was my wife, Heather. Sigma Delta Phi Sphinx. I've connected them to help do some grunt work and volunteer work for our Westerville Music and Arts Festival. So there's been a lot of ways to kind of connect and convene. And then a lot of times, and what I'm most excited about, is I get invited to events like this, meet wonderfully strong, aspiring leaders at Otterbein, and connect them with other businesses that are looking for interns and job opportunities. So a lot of different ways outside of some of the things that Kathy had shared, that Janet, our boss and fearless leader and fellow alumni and OWL, Janet Tressler Davis, we do a lot of different things, and then a lot of the same that Kathy talked about with Otterbein.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, how do you see the decisions of your organizations impacting college students? And then, how would you like for students to be involved?
Do you want to go first, Kathy?
I just did. You can go first this time.
Perfect. Um, a lot of our decisions don't necessarily reflect Otterbein, but through the partnership, which Kathy spoke about, there's a lot of involvement and discussion around workforce development. So I know that different pieces and parts of the committees related to the partnership are doing more for collaborations, internships, externships, and other opportunities like that that I'm not sound to really talk about because my hand's not in that. But where I am directly involved with our the things that our office does is our internships. And the one thing that I love to do with it, or connecting students with internships, not with us, but with some of our member businesses, but respectfully to the internships that I manage here in our office, I like to make it something that fits your skill set. Although I'd prefer to have someone come in and do this, and that, I also know that that's not how I learned in my 4 internships while I was at Otterbein. And the people that led me the most to put to use what I was learning in my classes while doing an internship was those that allowed me to say, here's what I really need to work on, or here's what I'm weak in. I'd like a little more experience. And so that's what I try and do with our internship. And so much so for internships and the partnership collaborating with Otterbein and the city, I believe we're having Ryan Breckbill host a lunch and learn in early 2021 to educate our businesses and our community on what an internship is, what it can be, and how you can empower a future leader in our workforce now within your office. So those are some things that I know we're putting to use right now from what the partnership's working on.
That sounds so exciting, actually.
It is. It's very exciting, especially because what's most exciting is I could still use an intern. I just wanted to put that plug in there.
Good suggestion. So I would answer that question is that how our decisions impact the students. To me, students are residents of our community. So any decision we make affecting the community affects the students. So I always am cognizant of the fact that, Otterbein students are here. One of the things I've been trying to do and have not yet done is to get a more signalized light at the crossing at Main Street, because one of these days I'm going to run over a student crossing the street who's not looking when they cross the street. That's something that we can all benefit from, I think, because it's very difficult to get through there during class change. Not this year, now that not that many people back, but in normal times. So one of the things I'm really kind of excited about is last year when we had our Van Sant Scholars, there was one of them who was assigned to WARM, the Westerville Area Resource Ministry. Are you guys familiar with that? It's our food pantry. They are located down in the Brooks Edge area, so that's the southern part of our city. And it never even occurred to me that the student had no transportation to get there. So one of the things I'm really excited about is we now have a CODA Plus service in Westerville that right now is free, and at the most will ever cost $2 a ride. But it's an on-demand service, which is really nice. And it may not come exactly to your door, but they're like within, a few hundred yards or something from your house or your location will come and pick you up and take you where you need to go. And that can provide great transportation and opportunities for Otterbein students to get to jobs, to shop. They're even, believe it or not, they're going to IKEA and the Polaris Mall, which is really not even in Westerville. So we kind of stressed we need a little bit of options there. So look it up if you're looking for something to do. It's just called CODA Plus, and you can find it and just call for, it's like an Uber, but doesn't cost anything right now. So we're always looking for things to improve. And there's a new development plan that's coming through from Otterbein that the city has to go through with them. And discuss, what it's going to be like, what it's going to look like, how, whether makeup's going to be business or residential or office space or restaurants or whatever. And it's something that's another collaboration we have to do. And it'll take a while to get that figured out, what's best for Otterbein, the city, and the community as well. So we're constantly doing things to help the students out, I think, because I think that the students are our future. And I like seeing the students working in the jobs uptown and becoming part of the community. You students are too young to know, but many years ago, Otterbein was kind of closed off from everybody. They were like a little island unto themselves, and nobody even knew Otterbein really was here, which is very sad because I think it's such a dynamic place to be, and nothing's better than having all the young people and their ideas come forth and get involved and be part of the community. So that's my answer.
Kathy, I have a thing to add / question. For Coda Plus, if you utilize it for $2, but then take it to a Coda Max bus stop, you get a free bus trip downtown.
Free transfer, yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
so
you do.
$2 and free Wi-Fi with the Coda Plus, and then a bus downtown for those of you that don't have a car or don't want to drive one night.
Yeah, and right now it's still free because of the COVID protocols going on, so you could go downtown for free. So,
Julia, there are 2 questions I'd like to answer. But before I do that, I actually have a question for Abby, who seems to be sitting outside in a gazebo with the greenery coming down. Is that a gazebo, or are you like in a loft?
No, I'm in my dorm. That's my bed up there. These are just fake vines that I have hanging down from my bed.
It's like wherever that is, that's cool. Otterbein's kicked up their housing game since I've been there. There were 2 questions that I do want to answer. I had talked about our networking events. We have a young professionals network, and those are for young professionals within the businesses that make up our membership. But Otterbein is a member. That's how I always phrase it to students. So if you do go on our events calendar that I was going to post, but Maggie already did, so thank you. There might not be much right now because all of our committees are planning everything for 2021 now, since we're in the last quarter of the year. We do a lot of networking events, some that are just, they meet at a bar and network in a pre-COVID year, to a breakfast with a leader series. We just had an intimate sit down virtual with the president and CEO of the airport. Before that, we've had oh my gosh, I just forgot his name, the owner of Pursuit, Nate. We've had the CEO and founder of Hot Chicken Takeover, Joe there. I think Joe, right? Maggie, Joe, right? Yeah. And so we do a lot of different things for young professionals. So if you are interested, look at our events calendar, reach out to me. I can certainly set you up with that. And then the one question about internships, I will always advocate for internships because it is a lot easier for you to find a job that you don't like while you're a paid or unpaid intern. But when you find a job and you've graduated, you have to think about your insurance, you have to think about your rent, you have to think about so much stuff. So it's so much easier to gain experience in internships, and it's very much easier to switch your life around and get a new internship if you realize you don't like whatever aspect of your major that you're studying. So I had 4 internships, and each one showed me something in communications I couldn't stand. And then the last piece I always couldn't stand or really enjoyed and wanted more experience of. But the one story I wanted to kind of share simply because Maggie had asked coolest internship. I took Dr. Kelly's PR practicum class where she broke us up into 2 PR groups, and we had to compete to get Jack Hanna to go with our PR firm on a campaign for him. And I got to present on behalf of my team, and then on the spot, Jack asked me to work for him. And so I peaked professionally as a junior at Otterbein because it's been downhill ever since. But it was a really cool time because I was juggling a lot of different things, so I wasn't a high academic person, but I got an internship I wasn't qualified for. I got experience that I wasn't prepared for, and it really shaped the course that I went on in my career and my life, all because I dug all in a class and took a chance on an internship. So if you haven't, well, you're part of your WELD group. You probably all have had 3 internships already. But if you haven't, found something that you want to try, I recommend that you try it now as an intern or with something on on campus, because it's a lot harder to do that stuff once you're off the bubble or the safety net of college. So I certainly want to advocate for that one. That was a great question, Maggie. Sorry, Julia, I went off the
That's
script.
perfect. No, that is so perfect. I was going to jump to him. You just beat me to it. We just got another question in the chat too. What is the best way for a student to look for internships with you or with one of the organizations that you work with?
For any of our businesses, what I do a lot of times is just kind of chat either over the phone or over coffee pre-COVID, and find what your major and interests are. And then any contact that Janet or I have within our businesses, I try and connect you with. In terms of our office, I can certainly talk with you one-on-one about that some more, but we typically look for someone with communication marketing experience, but especially since we do some government relations work, and because we do nonprofit work with running Leadership Westerville, we look for some help in those different capacities. And then soon enough too, I think I'm going to be having a need for an intern to help us with our Martin Luther King Legacy Project that puts on our annual breakfast community conversations on racial diversity and inclusion. We've been hosting those for 4 years now, 3.5 years now. So there's some a potential for an intern there as well. So different ways in our office, and then me just kind of getting to know your interests and background. I'm throwing stuff now to get you in touch with one of our businesses. I'll put my email and contact information in the chat box as well for everyone.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know the procedure for people to become interns at the City of Westerville. I know some of our departments have them. I've seen them in planning and development and some other things. I would suggest that you can just actually contact me, and I can find out if you have a certain area of interest, what you're looking for. I know we have some, like I really should find out how to do that. Maybe I can find that out and send that to you guys so that you know what the procedure is, because you can't just go to westerville.org/internships. There's nothing listed there because not everyone does it, but I'd be happy to check ways to do that. Because I think internships are invaluable myself, and you can always find, even if you intern in a field you're not particularly interested in, you certainly can learn a lot from it that will help you out. And I don't mean just in your resume, I mean in your life knowledge and everything. So I will make that homework for myself to find out how to do that.
Great, thank you both so much. Otterbein students appreciate that. So back to our list of questions here. Could either of you tell us about a project or projects that you've seen be the most impactful in your career that you were passionate about?
You know what? I tried to think about this one. I don't know. Kathy, can I deflect to you?
You can deflect, but I can't think of anything in particular. There are so many projects over the last 15 years we've been involved in that make an impact. I think for me, what I find impactful is seeing what other organizations do and how I can help them out, how I can help them succeed in what their mission is. I'll give you an example. One of my favorite nonprofits is run by a friend of mine, Rick Bannister, and his nonprofit is called Neighborhood Bridges. And he started this concept at the same time I was doing Neighbor to Neighbor. We both were talking about kindness, and we went about it in 2 different ways, his becoming a nonprofit. And the way it works, he has this model that is so unique and so impactful to people. He deals with children in the school district. A teacher can see a need in a student and put that need on, he calls on the bridge, which is where neighborhood bridges come from. And when he publishes that as a need, people in the community can come from the other side of the bridge and fulfill that need. And it's anonymous. They don't know, the receiver does not know who gave it, and the people who gave it don't know who's receiving it. And it just is a wonderful way to fill in blanks in needs for people. And I will tell you about the first one because I was involved in the first one that he did. And I think that's why it moved me so much to see how it worked. There was a teacher at McVeigh Elementary School who had a student that was in need of an eye exam. She figured, she just said, this student really is not doing well, and I think they need an eye exam. And she contacted Rick, and Rick mentioned it to me. And I said, well, I just did a ribbon cutting at an eye doctor's office in Uptown. Let me contact them. So I contacted these people, and not only did they do the exam, they provided free glasses for this child. And you think this, that one little interaction between people got this young child confidence, the ability to read, and they, and everything. And it just, I still get emotional about it because who knew that that was out there, that people are going to do that? Well, since then, he's done like 100,000 things on the bridge, and his organization has spread to Alabama as well. There's, I think, 23 communities in Alabama and 11 in Central Ohio now that have bridges. There's like Worthington bridges, Gahanna bridges. Each one of these people have started their own little outreach of this from this one person's idea of how to step out of the box and directly help children. And to me, I'd say that is one of the most impactful things I've ever seen.
It's been an honor too to work with him on Neighbor to Neighbor and to see him grow. That's how fortunate we are in this community to have Kathy and someone like Rick. I think the cool thing about what we do for Neighbor to Neighbor or for the chamber or just overall and everything that I'm a part of, I feel like every day is part of a campaign, and that's to make Westerville a better, more kind and compassionate community. From helping our business community, which when we help the business community, we're helping the people that are working there and getting paid to put, a home over, their kids and food on the plate, to doing a kindness rally a couple weeks ago for Neighbor to Neighbor. I'm blessed to manage a committed team that gives me an all-day Friday through Sunday volunteering for no money whatsoever music and arts festival. And myself, along with this committed group, we put in 40 hours in about 2.5 days. And we bring so many people into our community to see how amazing Westerville is. What makes it even more special is I partnered with Otterbein and a professor and 2 students for an internship, and they did a impact survey and surveyed over 400 people during that weekend. And we found that the indirect spending within our greater Westerville community is just south of $1 million in 2 days. That's not including what's being sold on the grounds. That's gas stations, hotels, restaurants, everything from this study. So everything that I'm fortunate enough to have my hand in at work, all the way to just extracurriculars like serving with Kathy on Neighbor to Neighbor, is the campaign for me. And then a little bit more recent, everything our chamber has done, starting from Janet's leadership down to just some quick changes that I've done in communications, the amount of businesses we've been able to connect with grants or some sort of funding that they were unaware of. From helping them know about the We Can that Kathy and the city is putting together for businesses, to what our national chamber was offering in money that our members needed to know about. Just seeing these individuals email Janet or I or anyone in our office saying, I got 5,000 free dollars that are helping me do this, 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 and that. Thank you. Or one person even wrote, I have money now, so now I don't have to let go of so and so. Really puts to mind that in such a dark time and trying time that us, a chamber was able to do so much to help people, not just as a business, but human to human and person to person. So that's been the most recent campaign, if you will, that I've been able to be a part of through the chamber.
Well, now you inspired me to explain to them about the We Can program and all
Do
that.
it because
So,
you know what, you really should. I mean, we are so fortunate for leaders. I don't think Otterbein knows how fortunate we are to have Kathy and the leaders that we have running this city.
one of the first things that we did this year with the pandemic is we granted every person who paid a utility bill in the city of Westerville the month of April free. You didn't have to pay for electric, you didn't have to pay for water, sewer, trash, anything like that. And it was almost $5 million that we spent to do that because we knew people were having a hard time. So we're very fortunate that we have a very stable financial situation, and we always have at least 6 months operating money on hand. And we thought, what's the best way to directly affect our residents? And it was nice to receive some compliments like that, like you were saying, Matt, about from people who said, oh my God, that really made a difference to me because now I can use that money towards something else. But the thing that's really cool about it, we encouraged people, if they had the ability, because they could still pay their bills otherwise, to donate that same amount somewhere else. And the amount of people that donated to Warm and Neighborhood Bridges and some other charities that we listed as possible ideas, it was fantastic. And people were just thrilled to say, okay, you gave me a break, but I think I'm okay. I can help someone who's in a worse situation than I am. And that is, to me, part of our Westerville way, helping people out. The We Can program that Matt's talking about is a program we have for our small businesses who are struggling, and we were able to offer our small businesses a matching grant of $2,500 for anything COVID related. If they had to, to help them reopen or get some PPE stuff or whatever. And now with the second batch of the We Cares money the money that's coming in from the federal government, we've upped that to $3,500. So people who have already gotten the 25 can get another 1,000, and other people who haven't done it, it can do it. And we've now expanded it to not-for-profits that pay income tax. So if you are someone like the Susan G. Komen organization, they pay income tax and property tax here in Westerville. They're also eligible for the same money, which they weren't before. And so the Alpha Group, I don't know if you know anything about the Alpha Group, but they take care of special needs people. They weren't able to do it before, so now they're able to do it. So we're trying to spread some of that money out so that it really hits the people who it needs. And lastly, we have something called Westerville Cares, and it's a means to help people out who might not be able to pay their electric bill, for one thing, and so you have to meet poverty. I'm not sure the exact level of poverty, if it's twice the poverty level or whatever, but I mean, these are people who are really hurting. There's ways to give them grants for that as well. And then a resident of Westerville can sign up to donate $1 a month to this fund. So it's like $12 a year. That's really not going to kill you, but you take that times your gazillion residents you have, there's a fund there. And that'll be there to help residents who can't afford to take a program at the community center either. So we're trying to help people who are most in need and directly impact them. And those are the things that make me happy to be part of the organization that I am, because we're actually physically able to help people.
We are so unbelievably blessed for the amount of collaborations within our community. And that's what makes it, I think, so hard to leave Westerville after Otterbein. In my role in Leadership Westerville, I've been able to somehow get my way into helping lead a statewide group of program leaders and directors of community leadership programs. And there's about 50 of us. And so a colleague of mine in Cleveland, her and I put these on quarterly. They're virtual now instead of everyone driving to Columbus and having this meeting to share ideas. And the reason why I share this is in the like 10 sessions we've had over the last couple of years, no other community has the partnership that Westerville has, at least that has been shared. Most of the people in small groups, large groups say, oh, I wish I had something like that. Oh no, we don't really have entities in our community talking with one another. And then here's Westerville. We are that beacon of hope, that lighthouse bringing in the ships into port, doing all of this collaboration and working together. And that's ultimately what makes us the community that we are. So everything that Kathy said, from my understanding, not being an elected official or anyone that's important, other communities around the state don't have what we have here in partnerships, which just makes it another reason to be involved within this community and get connected.
I think the other thing it serves to remember that Kathy Crendel started the Kindness Matters program at Otterbein, and it was actually at the same time that Rick and I were doing. We actually met at a big table conversation and discussed what everyone was wanting to do. And it was so funny how we were all on the same page doing stuff to help people. And she presented that whole plan to people in different conferences and things. And people were just surprised that we're doing this. And for us, it's like, why wouldn't we do it? Why wouldn't we help people? That's really what makes Westerville special to me, that we're all doing it together.
So awesome to hear all of that. That's wonderful. So a question for all the students on the Zoom here. How do you all see yourselves interacting with the organizations that Kathy and Matt are in? Feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Either one's totally fine.
Well, while they're thinking, I can give them something they can do right away that's very simple and very easy. Westerville's putting on the Great Pumpkin Glow again, starts tonight and goes through Sunday, and then the following Wednesday through Sunday, and they need people to carve pumpkins. I went last Sunday with some friends of mine. It's free, it's fun, you can spend an hour and you can help. We need 750 of them. It's right in your neighborhood. You can just walk over to Heritage Park and go over to the maintenance building, and you can help do something fun with your friends. You can sign up at, I think it's volunteer.westerville.org, and it's very simple. They have a volunteer portal, and once you sign up as a volunteer, you can get notices of other things you can do to volunteer for the city as well.
Another way that you can get involved,
Thank you, Maggie.
You can get involved either as an individual or with a group of your friends, or if you're in a sorority or sports team or club. Neighbor to Neighbor is doing the Kindness 2020 campaign, and we're always going to be doing kindness initiatives even after the mock political campaign. So if your group's looking for something to do or an organization to do a project for, between Kathy, Rick, myself, and the rest of the steering committee, we can come up with some ideas. I have about 5 right now. Just haven't had an opportunity to make them happen. So Kathy and I definitely could empower you just through Neighbor to Neighbor as well.
Awesome, very cool. Does anyone have, oh, there's another link. Yeah, Julia. So Julia's answering the chat. She wasn't familiar with all the different opportunities students have around Westerville, but we'll definitely be looking into the organizations more. Same here. I think it would be great to volunteer at various events. Now that we know the organizations to go to, I could see a lot of Otterbein students being interested in volunteering with your organization. So this is awesome.
Kathy, do we still have the kindness catalog up on Neighbor to Neighbor's website?
I think it's there. I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate because people do change their positions and stuff and contacts, but I believe it's still on our webpage, yes.
We have a resource on endtoendwesterville.org, right? I think it's org. And on that resource, the contacts might not be right, but there's a long list of nonprofits that are on there. So if you're looking just for a cause or a new nonprofit to learn about, you have that resource. Or if you email one of us, we can get you that information too.
Yeah, feel free to contact us because there's so many organizations we can set you up with. One of ones we haven't mentioned is Uptown Inc., which is our Main Street program, but they are now going to be sponsoring the Fourth Fridays for next year. They have a lot of activities like Midnight Madness. We can't do it again this year. We can't do it this year. So with this being such a strange year, some of these opportunities aren't here this year, but they are coming back, and we'd love to have your involvement. It'd be awesome.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. So does anyone have any more questions for Kathy and Matt? Any questions overall for about their organizations, about what they do, how to get involved, anything like that?
Come on, bring it.
You can type them in the chat and I can read them out loud. Feel free to just unmute yourself.
You're going to be like me. You think of a question after the Zoom's over with. But feel free to contact us if you have questions.
Yeah. All right. Any questions? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here we go. You can go ahead and unmute. Go ahead, Jocelyn.
Hi. So my name's Jocelyn, and I just have a quick question, and it's like a little off topic, but I'm very curious. So I wasn't in Westerville over the summer, and I was just wondering, and I've been wondering this like all semester, but like at the peak of the Black Lives Matter movement, how was the Westerville community doing with that, especially since like in Westerville, like we have like Westerville Strong, we have a lot of blue stripe flags because of the death of those police officers. So like I was just wondering, like how was the community in the summer? Like what was going on? If you have anything that you want to say about that.
We actually had, I think there was a total of 9 separate protests of various sizes. Some were very small, some were larger. What I really was impressed with was I got an email. Someone says, "I'd like to have a protest. How do I do it? You know, do I need a permit and stuff?" It was more like, we want to do this. We want to do it in the right way. So everything was very peaceful. They were well organized. They were well attended. I personally did not attend them because I am not getting into big crowds myself. But I would have loved to participate in some of them, you know. But they were very well done, and there was no confrontational stuff. It was just very peaceful. Like this is not right. We need to do something about it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. I was just curious because like
Yeah.
the entire time that I've been in Westerville, I've always been like, there's has to be something in the water. Like everybody's so nice. But yeah, I was just wondering how the climate was here, especially it being such like kind friendly community. But yeah, that perfectly answered my question. Thank you.
There were some people who were very vocal, and a lot of other people who were vocal saying, we do still love our police. You know, if you were around in 2018 when our officers were murdered, you would have seen the outpouring of support that is still there today. You can see people with their blue lights on and everything. I think our community sees police role differently than a lot of others, but our police officers have not been in those kind of positions where they've done things wrong. They have a lot of training, crisis intervention training and stuff, and I put them up against anyone. So it could have gotten a little bit, people, confrontational, but it was not. People said, okay, you have the right to say that, and we have the right to say this. And so far, knock on wood, we haven't had any problems or issues, but you never know, but let's hope we don't.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your question, Jocelyn. Does anybody else have any more questions today? No? All right. Well, thank you, Kathy and Matt, so much for joining us tonight. This was an awesome session, and I think we all
You're welcome.
lots out of this. So thank you so much for joining us. And on behalf of WELD Collegiate, thank you all for joining us as well. If you want more information on WELD, I'll put my email in the chat, and feel free to shoot me an email and we'll get you on our email list. Thank you again so much for joining us, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.